Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Musicals101.com's I'll Say. I'm musical theater historian John Kenrick.
And I am equity actor William McKay, and we are from my summer home.
Well, we're from his home in summertime, but for once, instead of being on opposite sides of the Hudson, I was on Long Island for a lecture, so it was a perfect excuse to get together and share our thoughts. We have been together for several hours, and we have not yet said one word to each other. Last night we caught
one word about
the movie.
We did not talk.
We are here to talk about. We talked about everything else. We talked about stuff we've never talked about before. But we are here to talk about Dear Evan Hansen, both the play and the movie. So let's start with that memorable Broadway hit. Here is a collage that's been used to promote the stage musical over the years, and we'll be watching along with you.
Have you ever felt like nobody was there? Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere? Have you ever felt like you could disappear? Like you could fall and no one would hear? Even when the dark comes crashing through.
Everyone is wonderful, and I loved it so much because it was inclusive. This is about all of us, and I think it's an important show, and I'm really proud I got to see it.
So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and
I want you to know this is a compliment when I say I started crying in the first song, and I did not stop.
You will be found.
I think a show like Dear Evan Hansen can start a great dialogue about being your authentic self, which is a really hard thing to find and to be. It can start conversations about the importance of actual human connection.
You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and you'll rise again. If you only look around, you will be found. You will be found. You will be found.
You will be found.
All right, now, Bill, what was your initial reaction when you first saw the show on Broadway?
First of the show. Okay. My husband is often we buy our tickets way in advance. And even though I wanted to see Dear Evan Hansen, I don't think it was in my husband's radar as much. Michael Riedel, the New York Post critic, whatever he is,
Columnist,
had promoted it. And I usually trust him about the stuff that he really, really likes. And I believe he'd been pushing that. So we went to see it. And I just want to add, before I had heard that Ben Platt was going to be like the greatest thing ever, and that the song with the mother, what is the song with the mother? Hold it, I got it, and I should know this. So Big, So Small. These are the big things I had heard. And by the time that we went, there was a lot of teenage interest in it. And so I was very, very psyched to see it. What was your question?
What was your initial reaction to the show, seeing it?
From it was practically just said by the CBS talk show host there who's on it, CBS guy.
Steve Colbert.
Thank you. Not the first song,
Hi, Steve.
but the second song. The second song is the window song.
Waving through a window.
He's standing there pretty much on the stage. He's not alone, but he is right up front and center.
Mhm.
And the ticks begin to take place. The reason I'm looking up is I'm trying to remember this because I remember it.
Mhm.
And I thought to myself, and I remember I'm an actor, okay? So I'm highly critical of the performances, more than I probably should be. Sometimes I need to see something a second time to sort of get that out of my system. I turned to my husband and I said, well, he just won the Tony. And that might be one of the greatest performances I've ever seen in a collection. In other words, there's a few. And he more than lived up to that. The entire show, in particular him and the mother, Rachel, I have it right here. I can't remember all the Rachel Bay Jones. I thought they were phenomenal. The crying, it was just amazing.
There's Rachel Bay Jones
Yes.
with Ben Platt.
And I don't want to make that sound so simple. It really, really moved me. I thought Ben Platt, I couldn't believe the singing, the sobbing during the singing, yet he kept maintaining his singing, his performance. Really, one of the best male performances I've ever seen. I didn't get to see Zero Mostel. I saw him in a revival. I didn't see Man of La Mancha. I didn't see Camelot. Even though I did all those people, I kind of saw them in revivals. I just thought he was amazing. I have more to say, but let you go first. So performance-wise, I thought everybody, but those particular two performances blew me away, and I thought this was just a great thing. The first time I saw the show.
Right. I've only seen the show once.
Saw it 3 times.
I only went once because, frankly, I could only endure it once. If I had to hear a lyric repeat itself one more effing time, I was going to shoot somebody. The lyrics in this show repeat, repeat, repeat. And if you didn't get it the first 5 times, they'll repeat it 5 more. So if you do go to see Evan Hansen in any form ever in your life, don't worry if you miss a line somewhere. It will get, if it is a lyric, it will get repeated, 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 and repeated.
It's like an Andrew Lloyd Webber music, they repeat. And if you don't catch it in the first Andrew Lloyd Webber show, then he'll repeat it again a couple times in other shows.
No, it's my ex, who I pick on so much, God willing, I never see him again.
You keep bringing him up.
Well, his mom was the sweetest, equivalent of a mom-in-law you could ever hope for. But God bless her, she's one of those people who would tell you something, and then she would come back 1 minute later and she would tell you something. It was the same thing. And when she would come back 3 minutes later and she would say it a third time. And it's not that she had memory issues. It's as if she needed to repeat multiple times. Everything she felt worth saying once was worth saying several times. And that made me want to jump out of a window. That's one of my pet peeves with people. Say it, move on, next. Or at least vary the diet. So that was my first issue with the show. And then there was Ben Platt. He is such a gifted performer. Now, I couldn't pick on the show much because one of my students from NYU, one of my graduates from NYU, is the young man you see in the middle next to Ben Platt, Will Rowland. Wonderful.
He plays Jared.
He plays Jared. Wonderful young man. And I was so proud to see one of my kids in a hit of this caliber. And that's Mike Faist. Is that how you say it properly?
F-A-I-S-T. I do not know, but it's F-A-I-S-T. Yes.
Yeah, and he was the original Connor.
Yes, Tony nominated.
Wonderful cast. I mean, I'm not faulting the cast in this show at all, except for Ben Platt. Because one of my other pet peeves as a theater person, as a musical theater person, is anyone who feels that in order to go somewhere where it's of emotional importance, they have to close the doors and not let me in. This is where I, as an audience member, see what I'm hearing. I'm not looking at what your legs are doing unless you are Fred Astaire or Ginger Rogers, and this isn't that kind of show. I am not looking at what your arms are doing too much. Your eyes are where they are called the windows to the soul for a reason. One other great Broadway star who I normally love, but one thing he drives me crazy with, Mandy Patinkin, when he sings like this, and he's going and being Mandy, and open your freaking eyes. And that was something that I was having huge arguments with my students at NYU about in regards to Ben Platt. That endless, he just keeps, well, oh, but John, it's important to the character. And I always said, no, if he opened his eyes, then I would have wanted to see him win the Tony. As it was, I thought it was a sellout to give him a Tony. And to give this a best score really told you what a lousy year that was on Broadway. And that's my opinion of the original Dear Evan Hansen. Any other questions on that?
Don't just stop talking.
Oh, wait, I left one thing out. Did you notice not only does every song repeat everything it says 3 times, but every song except one sounds alike. Almost every song in the show sounds just like the song that came before and sounds like the song that comes after. The only exception is the number Sincerely Me, which is sung by 2 young guys with the ghost of someone who's just committed suicide. And because it's a slightly twisted situation, and it is the only, and I mean only, number with comic content in the show, that it's the only really funny moment in the show, it stands completely apart. Just saying.
Well, now that I'll never be cast in this, and now that
my opinion's not going to hurt you.
And now that we've lost all of our teenage girls watching this, I will at least come through and say what I have to say about all of that. There was so much that you just spit out at me that I'm kind of going, oh my God. Okay. Ben Platt, I thought he was wonderful. I could see his eyes, so I'm not quite sure why you couldn't see his eyes.
He was doing this through the whole show.
My turn to talk. And he was crying a lot, which is probably why that was happening with the eyes to some degree.
They got drops for that.
The third guy I saw, by the way, spit a lot. Thank God Ben didn't, but the third guy spit a lot.
Some people were spitters.
Drove me absolutely insane. Okay, so Ben Platt, thought he was wonderful. So I have nothing negative to say whatsoever. I thought it was one of the greatest performances, certainly of a male, if not one of the top 5 I've ever seen on Broadway. Thought he was just amazing. The mother, Rachel Bay Jones. Seriously, some people are born to play a part. They just are. It's either written for them or it's just their style. She has a kind of an earthy kind of charm, little gravel in the voice kind of thing. And
she was out of this world.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
She doesn't get a lot to do. I mean, she has a lot to do. But as described last night in an interview, Ben Platt says she's kind of got, I think he called it a princess role, meaning that it kind of builds up and then all of a sudden she blows you away with a certain number. And that, again, is the so big, so small. I almost don't want to go into too much detail about it because I don't want people who are going to see this to have that, miss out on the opportunity. I am going to discuss the play in a minute, but I want to do one more thing about the father. Of course, I'm a guy and I'm an actor. And in a lot of shows, I'll sit there and I'll go, oh, I'd love to play that. I would really love to play that. And unfortunately, well, it depends. Now, as soon as I make this crack, you are definitely going to go with this. So I have probably aged out to be the father. Of course, you can just spit this out.
You can play the father, dude. Why not? The father does not have a specific age.
Okay, but I thought you were going to say
you
something
look
about
fine.
The age of the...
No, you look fine.
Okay, but I would absolutely love to play the father, and I probably have aged out. Although looking at myself in this beautiful lighting, that might not be the case. I obsess about this, meaning when I see the play, I'm staring right at the father often. It's not the biggest part. And it's funny, his song, which is To Break in the Glove, is probably the least popular song in the whole thing. And it's about a father who's just lost his son, trying to teach another guy how to get a little more interested in baseball and how to make a glove workable, softer. And you think, well, what are you relating to that, Bill? And I said, I don't know what to tell you, but just let me at it. I would absolutely love to do it.
Let me interrupt for 1 second. By the way, spoiler alert. We are going to be talking about twists, as we already are in the plot. And we're going to talk about differences between this show and the movie. So if that bothers you, you might not want to continue watching past this point. We are going to be discussing these things. Thank you. That was in the interests of fairness. And if you like what you are seeing here, please take a moment to hit like hit subscribe so you know about other live casts that we're going to be doing, and you'll get advance word on all of them. Okay.
So
And by the way, the number that you're mentioning was cut from the movie.
Yes, it was, but it became almost a slight scene.
Mhm.
The third time I saw the musical, in front of me was a family, and the father was interested, and the kids were into it, and the mother was into it. And I thought, oh, by the time we get to that father song, the entire audience will get fidgety. I have no idea why, but during the father song, it was the first time the whole audience was silent, and it wasn't because they were bored. And I remember the father staring, and I saw him go like this, and I said, there we go. Now the play, because I haven't discussed the play, I've discussed the performances.
Right.
The play. The first time, I think I was just too caught up in the story. So I was all weepy and emotional and all the things hopefully that you are. And so it did work for me the first time. I went back again without my husband both times. I wanted to go to my birthday. That was with my husband. And then what is that thing that all the teenagers do? One from each state or two from each state are chosen, the something awards, the Mickey Awards, the Mikey Awards, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do, and I forget what they're called.
Somebody was chosen and would win, and he went on to do the show, and his father died, and his mother died during the show. I mean, like they said, I actually wanted to see him. So I saw the show 3 times, and the second and third time I saw it, the difficulty I had was that this is a show where the lead person isn't a villain. He's the hero, but he's highly flawed. And he really screws up almost everybody else on stage for a period of time, like bad. And I found myself cringing, going, oh, these poor other people. Remember, identify with the father. And I kept saying, oh, I would just die. I would just die if that happened to me. And the mother. So I found the play a bit harder, the book, the second and third time, because I felt bad for everybody. And I know the writer may be intending that, and I get it. I think the movie fixes it to some degree, but I got uncomfortable. Last thing, the score. I don't know what to say because I do like it. There are songs that stick out. I think and boy, are the writers hot.
Well,
Wouldn't you agree?
One is.
Oh, please, they're both very hot. And they also did The Greatest Showman.
They also did Christmas Story.
Not the movie, a Broadway version, which was very, very good.
Based on the movie.
Yes, which was very, very good.
And they've had a couple of other projects, so they're very impressive with what they do. I did not like Greatest Showman. Sorry, I thought
I didn't like it either. I liked the score.
I thought that score was crap. Sorry, it was crap. There's not a memorable moment in it, in my opinion. Sorry, it's all ADD HD music.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. You finish, and then I got one last thing.
The score. I like the score. What kind of bothers me? No, that bothers me isn't the word. Isn't the word. That's what I want to say. This was the same year as Come From Away. We're going to be covering that.
2016
in another show soon. It was the same year, and I happen to know the writers of Come From Away, so it was a little tough for me. But I got very objective, and I just. I think the book To Come From Away might be better. Oh, please don't get mad at me, Dear Evan Hansen person. And the score, it could go either way. But the album, in other words, not the album. Oh, don't you hate it when they say soundtrack? I heard somebody today said, an actress said, well, the soundtrack to Dear Evan Hansen, and she meant the play, drove me insane. I kind of think.
Wait, let's explain for the uninitiated. The Broadway cast recording is a cast recording. Only a movie gets a soundtrack. So at the moment, there is no soundtrack to the musical Sunset Boulevard. There are cast recordings, many of them, with various women who played the role of the lead role, Norma Desmond. But so far, there is one cast recording of Dear Evan Hansen, and now there's also finally a soundtrack. Somewhat different, a few different numbers, but more on that.
I just thought that the Come From Away CD, the original cast recording, was better made. And this is great. It's beautifully sung. It's
Oh, yeah.
beautifully sung. Okay. And the Grammys are funny. I never can figure out, are they giving it to the vocal performance or are they giving it to the producing? I don't know. So I'm going to wrap up by just saying, because again, I really would love to play the dad. It's wonderful. It is a great show. Teenagers, please. Okay. They're lining up for a reason and they are not disappointed. The teenagers are going to cry. The parents are going to cry. It made me cry. It didn't make him cry. Oh, well, most people would disagree with him. It certainly moved me. I did see it 3 times, and the second and third time, I became more critical. It is hard for me to see him hurt so many people. It just kind of irks me, especially since I relate to the father.
He is
Flawed.
He's not just flawed, he's screwed up. He is a screwed up kid. I've dealt with a lot of screwed up kids as a teacher. That's fine.
I really want to do this show.
No, that's all right. No. He's a creep. He destroys people's lives. He's horrible.
Is there alcohol in this?
He is I'm sorry, dear Evan Hansen, if you really existed and you were my kid, I would want to slap you silly. I'm not a violent person. I would not spank you. I'm talking some good face slaps until you at least came to your senses. Yes, I understand.
But he got trapped.
Oh, yeah, he's trapped. He's on medication. Please, I understand he's on medication. You know what? I wasn't very popular in high school. Were you very popular in high school?
I had friends. Thank you.
You got beaten up in high school. I got beaten up in high school.
Gay.
We went to Catholic schools. We dealt with some real shit in our Catholic school experience.
Even the teachers pushed me in the locker. That's from a chorus line.
Right, but that's also, in my case, they didn't push me in the locker, but one who had a crush on me tried to get me in trouble until I had him caught. But that was a brother of the Sacred Heart. We won't go into that. On another, because nothing happened, believe me, ugly little creep. But listen, you know what, dear Evan? A lot of people had lousy high school experiences. We didn't destroy families. We didn't ruin people's lives. And I refuse to feel sympathy for this character. He's not just an anti-hero. He's a shit. And there's nothing to like about him.
Shit.
He's
and
a shit.
Lots to like about him.
He is a shit.
He's not a shit.
You know what? All the meds in all the world will not wash the blood off his little hand. Thank you, Shakespeare. But now to give the movie its
we're done with the play.
We still haven't discussed the movie.
I just want to say the play is doing very well. It will reopen. We just looked this up and now
December?
we forgot. December is it? My staff may come running.
It's reopening shortly.
December
7th. That's it. December 7th.
Okay, December 7th.
December 7th.
Yeah, we both should know the lead is somebody from Disney, a Disney guy, and he was supposed to be in it originally when it just closed.
You know what?
And I can't think of his name, but I do know his face.
You could have Jesus and the 12 apostles in this cast, and I would not be running back to see it.
What if I was in it?
If you were in it, I would really have to bite hard, and I would go see it.
Well, I certainly wouldn't put you in the front row. That's
No. Do what they did opening night of Rent. Put me in the back row of the balcony. It's safe that way. Now, let you judge something for yourself. Here's the trailer to the movie that we saw.
I'm never going to work again.
Here's the trailer to the movie that we saw last night.
My pictures are ready. They're going out real soon.
Dear Evan Hansen is a musical love letter to all those who feel alone.
Have you been doing those letters to yourself with Dr. Sherman?
I've been trying to. Dear Evan Hansen, today is going to be an amazing day, and here's why. Because today, all you have to do is just be yourself. But also confident. That's important. And interesting. Easy to talk to, approachable. But mostly just be yourself. You know, that's number one, obviously. Be yourself. But like a confident version of yourself. I've learned to slam on the brake before I even turn the key. Before I make the mistake. Before I lead with the worst of me. Give them no reason to stare. No slipping up if you slip away. So I got nothing to share. No, I got nothing to say. Would you want to sign my cast? Because we're friends. And
we're family, friends, Evan.
Would anyone even notice if I just disappeared tomorrow? Sincerely, your best and most dearest friend, me.
No one signed your cast. Now we can both pretend we're friends. Dear Evan Hansen, here you go.
Yeah, that's mine. I'll just take it. Wait, I need that back. Please don't show it to anyone.
We're having a little misbehaving clip there, but first of all, let me start on this one. I think this
Didn't you start before too?
No, I think this was about as fine a movie version as you were going to get in terms of cast. The cast is exceptional. Let me just bring up
holding my breath. By the way, we have not discussed.
We have not said one word to each other about the movie so far. Playing the student body leader who turns out to have mental health issues of her own, Amandla Stenberg. I thought this young lady was exceptional in this part. Because of COVID, she was doing rehearsals for this film through Zoom with the creative team because she was living in Europe with her parents during the COVID crisis. Playing the role of Connor, the young man who commits suicide, is an actor named Colton Ryan, who was a standby for the role of Connor
in the original cast.
In the original cast on Broadway.
He was a standby for all the parts of the men.
To my mind, he was a major standout in this film. I want to see a lot more of this young man on stage and screen in the future. And as Evan's mom, Julianne Moore has long been one of my favorite actresses on screen and stage. I think this woman is so incredibly talented. And now I found out that she can sing. Please, somebody give this woman another musical. Her performance of that number, So Big, So Small, actually made the last few minutes of the damn thing endurable for me. Because otherwise I probably might have left sooner than we stayed to the end, my partner and I, and he was scraping away his eyeballs. No, hush.
What is scraping away his eyeball mean? He was tired, or he was tired?
He was beyond. Scott was beyond bored by this movie. Here are the problems with the film. It felt at least 30 to 40 minutes too long.
Oh, it is, by the way, it is 1 hour and 37 minutes long.
Yeah, that's not much. Anything under 2 hours is an amazing accomplishment today.
Well, that's over 2 hours.
Yeah, but no, I thought you said
137.
Oh, 137 minutes. That's why it felt so long. You know, guys, cut your damn film. They had to cut Star is Born. That needed to be restored. If they cut a half hour from this film, no one will ever restore that footage. They will burn it and the world will be no worse for it. Now, then there's the slight matter of the lead. Now, Ben Platt has the wonderful advantage of his father producing this movie. His father has produced a number of movies over the years, musicals specifically, including La La Land. Did he produce Greatest Showman? I think that was one of his. And he was involved in several other movies. Oh, and Mary Poppins Returns for Disney. So he's not exactly an amateur. But there is no way. This show opened in 2015 in its workshop in Washington and on Broadway in 2016. Ben Platt is not a kid anymore. He is now a 28-year-old man. I'm sorry. This is not a 16-year-old. There is no way on God's earth you can convince me that that's a 16-year-old kid. And quite frankly, in his love scenes with Zoe, Kate, I have a shot of it here. Caitlin Dever, yeah, come back, please. Where'd you go?
That's not the love scene with us.
No, there it is. Caitlin Dever. I just felt it was a little creepy. Yeah, I mean, mind you, they're both in their 20s in real life.
She's 24.
She's 24 and he's 28. That's fine.
Actually, I thought 27.
But
when it was done.
Well, you know what? Right now he's 28, and the thought of a 28-year-old running around with a bunch of 16-year-olds is, quite frankly, illegal. And I'm sorry, it was something I could not ignore. I could not ignore. But all yours.
Okay. When I saw the commercial for this over the past few months, I did not particularly like the look of Ben Platt. I don't know why. It seemed like it was filtered. I wasn't used to the hair, and I thought, oh, I'm not sure they're going to pull this off. So I was somewhat I was somewhat dreading seeing the film, and already the critics in Canada had been unkind. To sum this up, by the way, at the present moment, I think on Rotten Tomatoes this has a 39 rating by the critics or something like that, but it has a 93 rating by the audience members. So I walked in with an attitude, meaning kind of like, this isn't going to be good. Since we're discussing, I thought the film was fine. In fact, good, not great. I need to see it again. I didn't like Les Miserables, the film, the first time. And there's other films like that because I'm sitting there being very critical. And in this particular case, I knew I had to discuss it the next day. So I'm really watching it like a hawk. But I'll do Ben Platt first. That's the most important thing. I'm sorry, but I thought he totally looked the right age. I don't know what
16-year-old do you?
I and my husband agrees. I completely bought him. So one of the critics said,
you haven't looked at any 16-year-olds in the last 10 years.
Well, there's a joke there, John.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't want you to.
No, I have not.
Go take a look at pictures of yourself in your high school yearbook. You don't look like that.
It's so funny because when I saw Grease, the musical, and I suddenly bought that too.
Oh, come on. John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John were old enough to have teenagers.
Yes. So I completely bought it. I was very critical. Like I sat there going, not going to work. It's not going to work. It did. I think a critic said his 5 o'clock shadow showed. Well, okay, 16-year-olds are starting to grow beards. I didn't see that, by the way. I thought he pulled off the age perfectly. He also, he had to tone all this down for the movie. In the play, there's more tics. The crying is almost nonstop. The eyes are a little more shut than maybe would be expected. I was fine with that. In the movie, that's not a problem at all. He's weepy a lot, but I can't even remember when he actually cried. He does during the, I don't want to give it away, the reveal scene at the family at the end. So I bought him completely. In fact, I know that because of critical opinions, this man is not going to probably get an Oscar nomination for this. But since I'm a SAG voter and could be chosen as a SAG nominator, I have to see the rest of the year. But I think he's great in this. I really think he did his job very well. The rest of the cast, the father, very important to me, is played by Danny Pena. He's Latin descent. We're going to talk about this for a second. One of my peeves about Broadway lately is that sometimes there'll be diversity casting and it's weird. So I talked about when I saw Billy Elliot for the 8th time or something. Billy Elliot was African American and in Wales, in a mining town. And
were the parents played by white actors?
His mother, a ghost, was white and his whole family's white. And I went, all you've got to do to make me buy this, because I love Billy Elliot, you just got to work with me and I'm going to work with you. All they had to do was say we adopted him or whatever. So in this particular case, they have a Spanish dad, which is also the current, not the actor. There's also a Spanish dad currently on Broadway. And they explained it. They simply said he was the stepfather. Now, I learned this before I saw the show, and I got annoyed again, going, well, what are you doing? The grief, and it would be, the dad. Learned something, because stepdads could grieve just as hard.
Hell yes.
And boy, did they do a good job. And they even explained it away. And so as much as the dad's part was not as big as I would have liked it to have been, I did like it. The whole cast, yes. Julianne Moore is terrific. I just didn't love her rendition of So Big, So Small as much as I liked the original. Now, I'm obviously sitting here comparing. Julianne Moore, please come sit with me. I'll cry on your shoulders anytime. You did great. Okay? I'm just unfortunately comparing you to the other person, which I have to do for this particular thing. The Zoe, the sister, fabulous. Again, as a SAG nominator, if I'm that, I would put her up. I thought, I'm going to stop moving. I thought she was absolutely wonderful. And he is right. Alana and Jared. Everyone's perfect, almost perfect. Just it's terrific. The film is too long. New songs. One of the new songs, oddly, John, you're going to love that I say this, sounds like a couple of the other songs. It's her song. She has a great song about her own mental problems.
And it sounds just like 5 other songs in the show.
It sounds like some of the other songs in the show, even though it's good. And
there is one different song in the score, "Sincerely Me." That's the 2 living guys singing with the dead guy. Sorry, that's
You
it.
Will Be Found is good.
You will be found, and you will be found. You will be found. You will be found.
Well,
you will be found.
You
will be found. You will be found.
If you read the book and libretto, they explain why they do that. I'm not going to do that now.
And you know what? Their explanation is irrelevant. It really is. I saw a movie last night. 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 And that is the Dear Evan Hansen musical version of my review of Dear Evan Hansen. Come on, please try something else.
So tell us how you really feel.
How I really feel? I think that I will see this movie as often as I will ever see the stage show. One time.
Unless I'm in it again.
Unless you're in it. And you know what? I know someone out there will make a pirate that I can catch. Terrible, awful thing to say. And it's not that I don't want the show to make money. I'll buy a ticket. Do I have to sit through it?
And teenagers, again, to get, we've got the kids for Lion King. This is bringing in the teens, and that's opening up the theater and bringing the parents and making money and all these things we want to be happening again. But I can promise you when you go see it that you will probably love it. Just John won't be there, but I'll be there cheering on if you'd like me to, especially if I'm on the stage.
I mean, if this is your cup of tea, sip away.
It is a rough. Yeah. I agree with you. The book is it's tough.
Let me take a stand.
Oh, I'm sorry, but the movie does kind of do a bit, and I think you hinted at it because it could have been some other version. They do a better job of explaining what is. They definitely explain. They deal with mental challenges better. They explain it better. And in the book, meaning the real book, this hard copy I'm holding here, they even said themselves, we weren't sure. Was this going to work? Is it not clear enough? And the answer, in my opinion, would be not clear enough. In the movie, it is. And so there's a new ending. I'm not going to blow it, but there is a new song that I have to hear again because I wasn't aware I was listening to because I was paying attention to the plot, but it was being overplayed, what do you call that? Underscored. But
you missed out on a song because you were paying attention to the plot. Yes. Somebody called the director effed up. And quite frankly, this director...
okay, we can talk about the director.
This director effs up all over the place. This movie is very poorly focused. There are huge stretches of wasted time. No movie can afford that. The wonderful thing that I learned in my years
in going to work again. No. I just know these people are going to write a show about a 62-year-old man, and they're not going to call me in. I'm just going to cry.
Listen,
okay, go on.
I speak.
Not that I'm 62, of course. I'm 50 something. That's how I look, don't I?
Yeah.
I do look 50s. That's an okay thing.
You don't look like you're in the 1950s.
No, but actors' age range is asked, and I would say I'm in my 50s to 60s.
And I will let you say that. Yes.
And you would agree that I look in my 50s.
Yes, I would.
Thank you, because I do look in my 50s.
Well, you're
incredibly all that kind of
you're not a smoker or a drinker, and that makes all the difference in the world.
And I'm Irish. I have good skin.
Yes.
And John is not going to be my manager.
No, I'm going to be your cheerleader though.
From the front row of Dear Evan Hansen, I can assure you. But I would also like to be Nick in Come From Away, which we will discuss on our Come From Away show.
Coming up.
And he is older, so on that one I should wear. Okay,
What I will say is this: I think this movie needed someone who could say no.
We're talking about direction. Okay,
Yes,
back to the
I'm talking
direction.
about just period. You need someone who could look at actors and say no. Someone, I don't know if it was the director or someone else, looked at Ben Platt and said, "Open your freaking eyes, boy." And so now in this movie, unlike when I saw the show, he is opening his eyes, and that makes a huge difference in the impact of his performance. I actually preferred him dramatically on screen. He's learned a lot in this many years, considering how much older he looks. He should. But I'm sorry, it's an embarrassment that there are talented teenagers who can play teenagers. Did you ever hear of a show called Glee?
Could they sing as well, though?
Did you ever heard of a show called Glee?
I did. Yes.
Well, if they had a show called Glee, there's talent out there that could have done this.
And there is, of course. And
yeah.
Yes, they could have.
It's
I'm glad they went with Ben Platt.
The previous revival of West Side Story that was done on Broadway had a Tony who was 33.
Who's in this movie, by the way?
Yes, and went, small part, and went to Argentina to find a Maria. With the talent that is in New York, that I know as
I thought you meant the one that didn't, the one that just closed.
No, the one that was done before.
Oh no.
All right, the traditional revival.
But the last
of West
Tony
Side Story
is in this film.
Yeah,
the show closed.
Yes. A pity that the new West Side Story closed. It closed before I could see it.
I couldn't see it either. I had tickets for it 3 times.
So disappointed.
It kept closing on me.
And to think all these other shows that closed, saying they weren't going to reopen, now suddenly are reopening. But
direction.
You need someone who can say no to a director. No one was there to say no. You can't hold your last shot for 39 hours, which is what it feels like.
Like a soap opera.
It's like, finish the frick, put up the end. They never bother to put up the words "the end." God forbid they should be that conventional. There's just so much to regret in this movie. But in the end, it could have been a lot worse than it was. It could have been La La Land.
No. Oh my God.
No. At least this was not La La Land. I did not
want to. Not.
I did not want to set fire to the screen and never see a movie again, which is how I felt after that Michigas.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Wait, because I know we're about to move into something else.
Yep.
I want to say, because I just have to say this, because again, I really want to play the father. Regardless of that, the play, musical on Broadway, please go. It's wonderful. Okay, bring your children, your teenagers. I think they're going to love it. Depends on the performance. Oh, okay, wait. The second and third time, the Evans with Ben Platt gone and the other Evans in wasn't quite the same. It wasn't quite the same. The mother, she just kept getting better and better as far as I'm concerned. Same actress. But it's still good. Okay. The movie is okay. I think Ben Platt is excellent and the cast is excellent.
If it's a toss-up between you seeing the play and the movie, I would say go see the play.
The movie.
No.
Can you mean the movie?
No, I would say go see the play. Because I think that you're in for a more interesting experience. The movie you can catch on DVD through your library. Why should you spend money?
Direction of the play isn't bad, by the way.
No,
it didn't get the Tony. That went to Come From Away. But all the electronics and it's like a sea of texting and all electronics going on. Yeah, it can be distracting at times.
This is the first musical I've seen
I could hear something coming.
That really makes use of social media as a crucial factor. And I want to give the director one prop before we move on. The director of the movie, before we go on to other subjects. The one moment that got me visually was when Evan Hansen was looking at a text he had just sent to his biological father. And then you look back over the texts of at least a year and you see keeps texting this man. And without a word being said, you realize his dark blue texts are there. And it's been over like 2 years since he's heard from his father. I think they said it's like a year and a half or 2 years. So that was a powerful image and a good use of the greatest thing about film is when it can use a visual image. This is something that would have been tougher to try to do on stage. It worked beautifully on film.
Ben Platt, I love you. Okay, just letting you know.
Ben, I love you too. I think you're very talented.
So proud of you.
Let me know when you do a musical. I'll be thrilled to come see it. Because
he was in Book of Mormon. That's where they discovered him, by the way. And can't you picture? Now I'm being not sarcastic.
Yes.
Can't you picture him
Yes.
as I forgot the name. Young.
Yes.
Whatever his name is. Not Deacon. What do you call those guys?
Elder.
Elder Young. I could just picture him. I didn't get to see it, but
Elder Price.
I'm sure he was amazing. Probably sweet though. I don't know if he had that zing that Ryan Reynolds had. Reynolds had. Reynolds, not
Reynolds.
Yes.
At Reynolds. Okay. So for those of you who don't know, among the shows that have reopened is Waitress, and its authoress, its composer, Sarah.
I have news about that too, but you go first.
Sarah Bareilles has been playing the lead, and she's been missing performances. And she sent
just
out
one or several.
She's missed at least one, but I believe more than one.
So be clear.
And she's let it be known that she's just not. She just doesn't have the stamina that she had in the past. Miss Bareilles, this is a message from a Broadway theater lover to you, and I hope someone puts this right in front of your face. You are a reasonably young woman. When Bette Midler announced that she could only do 7 performances of Hello, Dolly a week, she was in her 70s. That's when you take a night off because you're not quite up to doing 8 performances a week anymore. If you're not up to it at your age, please do us a favor. Don't put yourself up on Broadway and give people the impression that if they pay that disgusting ticket price to see a show, they're going to get to see you. It's not fair. It's not fair to your ticket buyers. It's not fair to your fans. And it certainly isn't fair to your colleagues on a Broadway stage. Either show up or shut up. We're tired of part-timers like you coming in and polluting the theatrical environment. Show up or stay in California and write something else. Don't. You know what? Broadway's got a lot of people who would love to do that job, and who. It's nice that your standby got to go on. They've already announced your replacement is taking over for you in a couple of weeks. Bring her on early. What the hell? A country singer might even show up more often than you.
She is a country singer.
Yeah.
I want to say 2 things. One is that West Side Story production that you were just talking about years ago with the girl from Argentina. The cast was notorious for taking time off. Even when we went to see it,
all casts are at this point. Yes. It's really sad.
Waitress. The other day, I don't even know if you know this. I could be scooping you, but you probably already know this. Waitress, the other day, some people from the audience texted out or said, there's a lot of cameras here. And they actually asked us to applaud at one point so they could hear what they do that with an audience. They want to get the sound level. So pretty sure that Waitress is being recorded. And I don't mean for the archives in Lincoln Center
Library,
which it could have been, but I just have a feeling it wasn't that. That I have a feeling just like Come From Away and like Hamilton, and isn't there another one? Isn't there a third? Again, maybe this is the third in my mind.
There have been plenty over the years.
We may be seeing this show in some form.
Usually, if a show is being videotaped, they have to up the lighting a bit, and they let an audience know. They tell them. So I'd be surprised.
Did you know this though? Did you know?
No,
that
I didn't. Happened? I didn't.
I rarely get to give him something fascinating.
There you go.
My staff discovered this for me.
It's wonderful to have a staff.
I have a really good staff.
Yeah, you got a great staff. Ooh, nothing like having a good staff. Thank you, Miss West.
Okay.
Next, and we will end with this, unless you have. To
no, I know
else.
What you want to do. So we're good.
This past week, one of the legendary stars of MGM's golden age, Miss Jane Powell, passed away at the age of 92. She was a genuine child star. She was a top star at MGM. She co-starred with the likes of Jeanette MacDonald, Fred Astaire, Howard Keel in 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. Such a memorable film. And personal memory, she was the star of my very first ever performances as an audience member on Broadway for the musical Irene, 1974. It's a treasured memory. She was wonderful on stage. She was not a slumming film star. She was just out of this world, her singing, dancing. And I've gotten to know many people who were part of the original cast of Irene. And every single one of them has nothing but I've talked to several of them this past week, and they're all just we're wrecked that she's gone, and said, oh God, all she ever did was give me great advice, or all she ever did was inspire me. All she ever did was treat us all like solid gold. And I am now reading her autobiography, which I was able to get a copy of. And she said something fascinating in it. She said, I never felt like I was a movie star. I was too busy worrying if I was living up to everyone's expectations to think that I could be a movie star. Wow.
Didn't she say that in your documentary? Not your documentary,
The
but the
one I'm
you
in.
did, yeah.
She might have repeated that. I'm not
I
sure.
remember hearing that.
But that was apparently a very genuine sentiment on her part. May it be said of all of us when our time to leave comes that the people look back and go, all I have are great memories of this person. We would like to thank you for being part of this special live cast. We are going to be doing a Tony party, an after party, this Sunday after the Tonys.
Sorry, the reason I'm laughing.
Yeah, we're having some tech issues. As you
no, I'm not
see.
laughing about that. I'm laughing about the fact that John's opinions about this year's Tonys are
Tonys.
But I'm into it.
How do you have Tonys without a season and have them for 4 hours? There are Wagnerian operas that long. I thank God my sofa has comfy cushions. So anyway, we send you all our best wishes. Stay well. Keep loving musicals, and we'll see you back here soon on musicals101.com's I'll Say. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here.